The Valencia Marathon is going ahead, and with only 12 days to go, it's time to do the last hard session of the block. Let's go. "12 days until we find out if this is going to cure all my cramps. 750 milligrams of sodium per tablet, and they taste really good. I'll put a link to them in the description if you want to try, but definitely recommend." I'm out here on the Forth and Clyde Canal, and it's officially winter. The weather has been like perfect in Glasgow for the past month or so, and all of a sudden it's just below freezing. It's not great, but I've been lucky to get the whole block in pretty much in perfect weather. And there's still not really, well, there's not any wind. It's just cold. But anyway, we've made it 12 days out from the marathon. I honestly can't believe that in just over a week I'll be flying to Valencia. It's like flown in this block. Usually by this point I'm knackered, ready to just have a big taper, but I don't feel like that this time. With the new coaching setup that I've had in this block, I've been recovering a lot more. I've been running a lot less miles. And since that 10k race, I've actually only done one session. That 10k race was 9 days ago, so had 4 days of easy running, did the session on the 5th day, and then had another 3 days of easy running. And I would just never have done that before. And I feel like prioritising that recovery has just made everything feel so much better. I'm not like desperate to taper or desperate for a break. I still feel pretty much ready to go. And yeah, it's been nice, and we'll see if it translates to a good race result in a week and a half. So today, as I said, last hard session of the block. We've got 2k, 3k, 4k, 4k, 3k, 2k with 1k floats. The paces that I've been given aren't too hard. I've been told to go 3 to 5 seconds per k quicker than marathon pace in the first 3 reps, and then if I feel good at halfway, pick up a little bit, with floats about 30 seconds a k slower than the hard bits. So I could definitely do this session faster, and I think I have at some point in this block, but that's not the point of today. The point of today is not to see how fast I can run this session. The point of today is to maintain fitness, but still reduce that tiredness. I plan to talk pretty in depth about the taper in next week's video, and I'll go through more of the training block as a whole at the end of this video. But basically the thinking is that I've been training really well in the big weeks, like in my biggest weeks. The sessions have still been really good, so I don't want to taper too much and be like lethargic and just not really ready to go. I want to maintain the routine, maintain the intensity, just drop the mileage a little bit so that I'm still fit but I'm also fresh. And even though I'm feeling great and recovered and ready to go, I've still got those taper niggles. They're nowhere near as bad as they've been in previous marathons, but like any small ache or pain you think is an injury. I've had a bit of a sore calf for the past few days. I've been icing it and stuff, but it's really nothing. I know that. Your mind plays tricks on you. No matter how long you do this for, you'll still think you're coming down with something, think you've got niggles, injuries in the few weeks leading up to the marathon. That's just how it is when you've put so much time and effort into something that matters so much to you. Your mind sort of runs a bit and you catastrophize everything. But I'm fine, and I know that if I get this one done without any actual pains, then I'm definitely good to go. Also, I'm not sure if I've worn this on the channel yet, so shout out Mark Scott, fan of the channel. I know he watches these videos sometimes. For the best winter running jacket I've ever had. I need it in these cold winter months. I never know what to wear when it's this cold. I'll probably do my tempo and tights. I'll probably do my tempo, my 3 minutes in tights.
I would do a long sleeve.
And gloves, obviously. I'll probably just take the tights off before the session now. Right, 3 minute threshold. That was quite slow. 5:28. I think always your breathing's a bit worse when it's cold. And I try and focus on that for the effort. So, it's fine. It's alright. Legs and everything else felt good. But, anyway.
What about the heat plant?
What do you mean? I don't know if I don't think I'll look different.
Nah.
Maybe slightly overdressed. Because you heat up quite quick. I wonder if that's a dodgy GPS. So it was saying like 5 minute mile for that at first. That was never 5 minute mile. I know that for a fact. I'm going to try and get by these people. The best thing about training here is that I can just claim it's a dodgy GPS anyway. If we run around the loop, the K loop that we've got, I couldn't claim that. I think I might keep these gloves on. Don't like sessioning in thick gloves like this, but my fingers are cold when I'm wearing them, so I don't want to wear thinner gloves. Put these on last night, just like everybody told me to do, and they still came off. So, back to elastoplast. Right, it's freezing and I might be underdressed, but anyway, let's go. Just finished up the first 2k, 6:11, which is like exactly what I was going for. But it felt a bit harder than I would have liked. I think that on these sessions that you expect to feel good and you want to feel comfortable, they never really feel how you expect them to feel. And it's not an excuse, but I don't think this cold weather is great for the breathing. Especially when the weather's been so good for so long. My breathing just is not used to it. So I might just pull it back a bit, not force it, sort of just see what happens. But my dad can't seem to cycle in a straight line when he's videoing, so we're just about to go anyway. About 10 seconds.
You're funny made that shock the first one when you're trying to run that fast. But then it's like
First year was 302. Now I feel a lot better. $3K done. Felt so much better than the first rep. I think I had to just warm up. And not like warm up because I'm quite old and stiff. Warm up because it's -1 and I'm actually freezing. So feeling a lot better now. Can afford to slow down a second or 2K and still be on pace. But I was quite worried about how this was going to go after the first rep. So it's good to feel better. And I'll just relax. I'm not going to try and push it at all, really. Just hit the splits, go home, have a nice hot shower. You know it's bad when you're thinking about that already. Few icy bits, but I'll just be careful. I'm a bit accident prone historically. I'd rather lose a few seconds on the icy patches than fall. But 10 seconds to go. 4K. Just halfway done on the reps. I do feel like that's definitely fast enough. It just doesn't feel quite there today. Although I feel better than I did in the first rep. It's still, like any quicker would be too quick and too hard I feel. And there's no point in that today. So I'll just keep it there. 305s to 307s. And just get it done. I'm gonna have a gel. Right, Tom.
this is how he's done. And he's bad at done. Just like how bad I am.
Second 4K done. I actually think every hard K so far has been between 305 and 307. So that's good. Consistent at least. Just gonna keep it there. Finish feeling good hopefully. I don't have any niggles, which is always nice. Considering I had a tiny bit of a sore calf running at 8-minute miles yesterday. That's a good sign. Just need to get the next 2 reps done about the same sort of pace. Not push any harder than I need to. I think we should just turn here.
Aye.
it might not be ideal. I can't quite figure it out. So that's whatever.
Look at that. Lovely.
One more rep to go. Annoyingly, I broke my streak of, I think, 14 305 to 307 Ks. The last K there was 303. My dad was sitting behind me on the bike for the first 2K of that rep. And then, as soon as you went in front, it's just like an instant switch that 303s feel more comfortable than like 306s. Just because you're able to just sit behind somebody and it helps so much. And as much as I don't do really any training with other people, having the bike is just a massive help. But I'm not going to be too nice to him because I don't think he'd like that. Anyway.
Here.
We're going to be short, I think.
Of it.
So we're going to go up the bridge.
Oh. We're going to need to go over a bridge. Oh. Kick us a grape.
Don't need this, but helping the recovery process. Probably don't need this either, but it's good to practice with the hydration as well.
I think that's just frost. Should find out.
Done. That was less than ideal on that last rep. I actually don't think I've ever misjudged that and had to run up the bridge. But anyway, done.
You'll be alright, it's no ice.
You put respite now. $24K, 77.14, which is $3.13 per K for 24K. Which, considering it never felt that good, is a good sign. And no casualties, which is the main thing when it's icy like this. That was the perfect layers, by the way.
Oh, thanks to your dad again.
I did nearly wear tights, but he told me not to.
Schoolboy error, that would have been. That's it. That's all you needed. No point in chasing anything new. It's done. It's done.
Oh, I know. Look, I didn't want to get any faster than that. That was fine. 305 to 307 is what I was told. And then pick up a wee bit in the second half if I felt alright. And the last 3K were the fastest. But it wasn't like really fast.
Look at that lovely canal. It's bogging. The sun's up there somewhere trying to get through that tree. Look at that. It's a cheek. That's actually a nice place to run this. When there's no many people about. Which is not very often enough. That's us done for another day. God.
The real schoolboy error was forgetting to put body glide on. There's not that much left, so I was just like, I'll just leave it, it's fine, but it's not fine. I'll need to get some new stuff.
That place.
Just warming down after the session. My dad does not like joining me for warm downs, so I'm just running 2 miles closer to the house and he'll pick me up on the way. But that was good. Good. I guess it was good. It didn't feel great, but it was good. 24k, just under 15 miles at 3:13 per k, which I think is about 5:11 per mile, which would be quite a big marathon PB if I could run that pace in Valencia. I would definitely say that the first 2k rep felt the hardest. Just my breathing wasn't quite right. My legs weren't quite ready to go. It just felt harder than I expected it to. After that first 2k, my breathing definitely settled down a lot. It felt a lot more relaxed, and I think I was just getting used to the cold. I still didn't feel amazing after that. Like, my legs felt a bit tired, and I felt like I was pressing a bit. Definitely pressing more than I would have liked, and more than I was in the third 10k last week, which was about the same pace. The issue for me quite often in the taper is that I expect things to feel easy. I see 305s to 307s for this session, and I think, oh, I could do that in like 3 minutes to 302s. But the effort really isn't that much different. At the end of the day, 305s to 302s is so similar. Your body just can't tell the difference with that. And when I go into the session thinking it's going to feel quite comfortable, it never does. And it's always been the same with me, even when I was really young. I just never learned. But it's done, and it went well, and the paces were good. And I know I did say this in last week's video, but now it really does feel like the training's done. All the hard sessions are now definitely done. So I think now is a good time to probably talk through the block, and I'll go home, get a nice hot shower, have lunch, and then sit down and just talk through the block in more detail than I have so far. And hopefully that'll give a really good picture of what I've been doing for the past 12 to 16 weeks. To get ready for this, because although I've been posting on Strava and posting on YouTube, I haven't been posting everything, and it's not kind of been there as a whole picture. So I think it'll be good to just chat through it, show you everything that's been done, and then, as I said, next week I'll talk more about the taper. I'm going to be honest, it's the next day because I went for a nap after my session, and when I woke up it was dark, so I couldn't film because I used the natural light from my windows to light the room. But recovery is key, so let's get into looking at the block. I keep this spreadsheet as I have for every block that I've done, and orange is sessions, green is races, which there's usually more of, but there's only been one in this block, and purple is when I've travelled to altitude. As you can see, I've been on a Tuesday-Friday schedule pretty consistently throughout this whole block, except for when I've been recovering from races. Week 10 was a little bit different because I was travelling home from Font on the Thursday and didn't want a session on the Friday. But apart from that, Tuesday, Friday every week. Last week I did Sunday session because of the race. Otherwise, very standard, very much in a good routine, and just doing the same thing every week. Tuesday tended to be the shorter, faster session of the week. This wasn't always the case. Once or twice this would change a little bit, but generally Tuesday faster session, adding up to about 10-ish miles of volume, maybe a little bit more like half marathon pace. And then Friday was the big marathon session, which added up to 45k, but mostly around that 30k sort of volume. And then Sunday was usually always about an hour 45 to 2 hours, with everything else just being easy running, easy miles, targeting somewhere between 100 and 105 in the main training weeks. And yeah, everything went really, really well. I didn't miss one run. I actually don't even know when my last day off running was. It's definitely not in this spreadsheet, so I've been running every day now
since at least the middle of July, which isn't like me. I usually have a day off maybe once every few weeks, but actually I've quite enjoyed just the easy Monday. 4 to 5 miles of just jogging, that sort of resets me but doesn't allow me to stiffen up and keeps that routine of running every day. So I wrote out some of the main stats from the block because it may be easier to sort of get a picture of what was actually happening during the block instead of just looking at the spreadsheet and trying to figure it out for yourself. So the 12-week average was 96.5 miles, which if you watched my marathon mistakes video, that's a lot lower than I've been doing for previous marathons, and that's just really helped me to recover and feel better and hit the sessions well. Like, I actually have energy to do other things, like film these videos, like take on coaching clients, like do fun stuff outside of running. When I was running 130 miles a week in previous blocks, I had no energy to do anything. I had no time to do anything. But 96.5 miles average seems like a much better balance where I'm still running good miles, still able to get really good sessions in. And honestly, I feel like I'm as fit as I was in March now, and I've been running like 30 miles a week less. It's kind of mad, but anyway. In that marathon mistakes video, the thing that I said I wanted to improve on was the number of sessions over 30k. I didn't feel like I'd done enough previously. So in this block, I've done 6 sessions over 30k in volume, which have been mostly float sessions. I actually didn't include the 3x10k in this, even though I probably should have, but that wasn't completely continuous. So 6.5 sessions over 30k, the max being 45k, but I think mostly they were around that 32k sort of mark, which is 20 miles. The final thing that I thought was important to note down was the number of easy runs that I did over 30k of volume. So I did 6 of these, one of them was a steady run. On top of these 6 easy runs over 30k, I actually did 3 over 29.75k because I work in miles and I was going to 18.5 miles, which is just under 30k. So I did 3 of those. So really I did 9 easy runs of 30k and over, which means I went over 30k 15 times in this block, which is almost once a week, which is pretty crazy now that I look at that. I actually had no idea that that was the case, but I think that's been a really good thing to work on, getting that volume. The marathon is really far and you have to train for that. You have to practice for the distance, and getting up over 30k, getting up over 42k that one time, that's really going to hopefully help you in the second half. I don't know yet, I've not ran the marathon. I'm filming this 11 days before the marathon, but everything's feeling good. And yeah, I think that's enough from me on the block. I'm really happy with how things have went, feeling really confident, just amazed that I could get back here on such little mileage compared to what I had done before. And if you've got any questions, please ask them in the comments. I'll definitely get back to you. And I'll see you next week for the last video before Valencia. Cheers.